Welcome to Bonding, a kinky podcast hosted by me, Sarah Butcher, aka Sub in the City. I'm a BDSM coach, kink educator, and proudly collared submissive, with over a decade of experience on the BDSM scene. I'm on a mission to bring BDSM into the 21st century and empower curious kinksters like yourselves to consciously explore what BDSM means to you. In this podcast, you'll hear me talk about all things kink. So whether you're new to the scene or you're a long-standing member of the community, welcome kinksters. I'm looking forward to bonding with you. Hello, beautiful kinksters, and welcome back to Bonding. Now, if you've been feeling a little bit disheartened lately, or like you're not sure where you're going when it comes to kink, then I have got just the episode for you. Today I want to talk to you about the signs that you may have hit a plateau on your kink journey. So there comes a time in any journey when we feel like we've slowed down or that we're stuck altogether, and the same goes for kink. If you feel as though you've not been enjoying your BDSM experiences as much lately, or that you don't just feel inclined to play around with kink in your sex life, then it could be a sign that you've hit a bit of a plateau. But all hope is not lost. This doesn't mean that kink isn't for you anymore. It simply means that you may be going through a period of growth or change, which is totally normal throughout your kink journey. So I'm going to be talking you through some of the signs that your kink journey may have hit a plateau, and more importantly, what to do about it. So number 1, perhaps you're feeling like a fantasy that you once enjoyed doesn't seem to do it for you anymore. So it sounds kind of obvious, but so many people find a fantasy that they really enjoy and assume that this is the way things have to be forever. But variety is the spice of life, and so if there's one particular fantasy that you've been living out pretty much every time you have sex, it could be time to shake things up. Just with anything, we can become bored or desensitized over time. You know, just like when we hear a song that we love and we listen to it on repeat for so long that we start to despise it. Well, the same can go for fantasies too. While I appreciate for some people a fantasy or a fetish is a non-negotiable when it comes to having great sex, the key is to get creative in how you incorporate that fantasy into your scenes, your sex, or your daily life. So to move through this feeling, try changing up different elements of this fantasy. It could be your physical environment, the time of day, or any other variable. You may find that all you needed was a little injection of creativity and imagination to bring that fantasy back to life. However, if you're still feeling resistance, perhaps it's time to revisit your desires and start exploring new things. Your new favourite fantasy might be the one that you never even expected. So go back to your yes, no, maybe checklist and have another conversation with your partner and take it from there. Enjoy this process and enjoy exploring something new. The second common thing that I hear, which is a sign that you may have hit a bit of a plateau, is that your kinky responsibilities are starting to feel like a chore. So if you're in a DS relationship or a power exchange dynamic, a common sign that you've hit a wall is that you keep finding your side of the exchange draining. If you're a submissive who finds following their current rules and completing tasks a bit of a chore, then perhaps it's time to take another look at your dynamic. And equally the same goes for dominance. If you're not feeling the excitement of your submissive completing the tasks you've set them, or you're not interested in keeping track of whether they're following the rules or not, then perhaps both of you need to sit down and reflect on why this is. And so it's important to check in at regular intervals to reassess your dynamic to make sure you're both getting the most out of it. As you grow and evolve together, your dynamic will shift, meaning that you both need to be self-aware and confident enough to speak up when something isn't feeling right for you. In some cases, you may have outgrown the person altogether, but that's often unlikely. Most of the time, it's about making a few tweaks and changes to your dynamic to keep it fresh. It's very easy to get comfortable with someone, and while this feels nice for a while, ultimately, we can get bored. We're only human. So make sure you're always challenging yourself and your partner to continue to have the most pleasurable experiences. And again, it all comes back to communication. Go back to your yes, no, maybe sheets. Go back to revisit your contract. Go back to your negotiation and mix things up. There is no harm in trying new things, and if they don't work, going back to what you had before. Perhaps you needed to try something new to realise that actually the way you were doing it, you did really enjoy it. So just see what works for you. The next sign is one that might feel a little bit more draining, and that is that you may be experiencing drop more frequently, so sub drop or top drop. If you're finding you're experiencing drop more frequently than usual, this is not something to ignore, and there could be many different reasons why you're experiencing a drop, such as trying something new that's pushing your limits and boundaries in a way that you didn't expect. Or it could be because the kinky activities you're experiencing no longer feel in alignment with your desires. So whenever anyone experiences drop, it's important for their partners to take some time to explore this with them when they feel safe and ready to do so. Active communication is the key to ensuring everyone is getting the most out of the experiences, and it's important for the person experiencing the drop to take the time to deeply reflect and communicate as honestly and openly as possible as to how they're feeling. Now, sometimes we may block off our emotions when we're experiencing a drop in order to protect ourselves. It's also very common to feel feelings of guilt or shame during a drop, but it's important that we don't keep this to ourselves. Ignoring sub-drop or top drop, or simply accepting it as part of the experience, is not healthy. Drop is a healthy part of BDSM when dealt with correctly. It's only when it becomes a very frequent thing or you stop communicating it that it becomes unhealthy. Speaking freely about your emotions can ultimately save a dynamic and help you work towards creating healthier, more pleasurable experiences in the long run. If you want to learn more about sub-drop, then you can go back to one of the previous podcast episodes where I talk more about this. Okay, next sign, you're feeling uninspired. So if you're feeling uninspired when it comes to creating punishments for your submissive, or you feel like you've run out of ways to please your dom, this is a clear sign that you've hit a bit of a wall in your kink journey. And sometimes this wall happens before you've even got started, or it can crop up at any point during your journey. Again, it's so normal. It doesn't mean that you have to throw everything away. There are a few reasons why you might be feeling uninspired, so take some time to honestly reflect on how you're feeling and why you're feeling it. So, does this lack of inspiration come from a place of fear and uncertainty? Is it due to a lack of self-belief or confidence? Or is it coming from a place of unfulfillment in your dynamic or your current experiences? So really trying to understand and pinpoint what the feeling is will help you identify whether it's a case of focusing inwards or outwards. If it's from a place of fear or lack of self-belief, ask yourself what you're scared of, and most importantly, share these concerns with your partner too. If it's a feeling of unfulfillment, again, ask yourself why. Is your current partner in alignment with your kinks and desires, or is something not quite right? So often people at the start of their kink journey will settle because they think they won't find anything better. But trust me, you will always find someone whose kinks and values truly align with yours. So don't sell yourself short. But that's also not to say, go and dump your partner today. Do have a conversation and try to focus on the areas that do align. But if something that you're doing regularly is not clicking with you anymore, then the only way to change that is to be open about it and really curiously, compassionately inquire as to why that is happening. And as I say, don't be closed off to trying new things. If your partner likes different things to you, that's okay. If they're not a complete hard no for you, why not give them a go? Take it in turns to explore each other's desires, and who knows, you might even be surprised that you find your new favourite kink. And finally, perhaps you've noticed dips in your confidence lately that you hadn't been seeing before. Confidence can be such a huge roadblock when it comes to exploring kink. So whether you're new to the scene or you've been practicing for years, you will always have times where your confidence wavers. I still do. And perhaps you're finding you're in your head too much during scenes, you're feeling overwhelmed, you're getting waves of anxiety when it comes to doing the things that actually turn you on and turning your fantasy into a reality. then perhaps it's time to find out what's stopping you from growing in this area. And lack of confidence often comes from an insecurity of some kind. So it could be fear of rejection, fear of looking or feeling silly, fear of doing something wrong. And these are all totally normal human feelings that come up in all areas of our life, but they can be very effective at killing our sex life or sex drive. So based on the other points that I've just gone through, I think you already know, but the answer is communication. Acknowledging our fears and concerns is the fastest way to take control of them. Ignoring them and thinking we should simply know what to do is not the way to go about this. And here is where your partner can really offer you support, using language in the bedroom that lets you know when they enjoy what you're doing, and providing excellent aftercare and feedback that makes you feel safe. There really is no one quick fix for confidence because it is all about mindset. We all feel nervous about trying something new for the first time, but practice makes perfect. And if you try something that you don't like, don't let this dishearten you. Simply move on to the next thing. BDSM isn't all about having picture-perfect scenes. It's about having fun and letting yourself go. So it's time to get out of your head and into your body. Allow your intuition to guide you and not your fear. Easier said than done, I know, but this journey of BDSM and kink and connecting with another person is not always going to be smiles and rainbows and fun. It can feel very shadowy at times, and it can unlock different parts of you that you didn't even know were there or you didn't even want to bring to the surface. And that is a beautiful thing when you can connect with someone on that level and really dive deep into your desires, into your taboos, into your shadows. It's just a whole other level of BDSM and kink that people don't realize is there. And in that sense, it can be a wonderful self-development tool, both inside and outside the bedroom. Do you feel as though you're stuck on your kink journey? Whether you're single and not enjoying your current experiences, you're unsure of how to create the dynamic you desire, or whether you're in a relationship or dynamic that feels a bit stagnant right now, I'm here to help you. With my BDSM coaching sessions, we can dive deep into your desires, address any fears head on, any concerns, any areas of interest that you might want to explore further. My role is to provide support, guidance, and education to empower you to feel confident in creating the kinky lifestyle you deserve. So if you feel like you'd like some personalised support, then do reach out and let's see if we can work together. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode. If you enjoyed this podcast, please share it with your friends. And if you want to continue to consciously explore your kinks, be sure to check out my upcoming workshops and events at subinthecity.com/events, or book your one-to-one BDSM exploratory session with me today at subinthecity.com/booking.